I'm Randy. That's Josh. Good morning, Josh. How are you today?
Hey, Randy. How you doing? How you been?
Good. I've been good. How's your weekend been so far?
Good. Long, but good.
Anything interesting? Just long.
Well, we did the live stream last night on Ham Radio Crash Course, and then we went and recorded a podcast, and I was up until the wee hours of the morning doing that, editing it and posting it. So, yeah, long weekend.
That's why you're tired and grouchy today.
That's why I'm tired and grouchy. That's right.
I took the Jeep like every weekend. We took it up off-roading, went up to a little road above Big Bear Lake, right down the road from where you and I did that POTA or SOTA or whatever.
Okay.
Right, just a couple miles from there, called John Bull Trail. It's one of the hardest off-roading and rock crawling trails up there. So that was fun and interesting. No damage, nothing terrible happened.
I did just get back from a backpacking trip. So we did basically 11 miles.
Manly stuff. Where
11 miles in the Eastern Sierras. We went to the Hilton Lakes. So this is north of Bishop, just outside of a town, not even a town. It's called Tom's Place. I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. But there's a trailhead that's not too far off from that. So went with me, Adam K6ARK, who's down in San Diego, and my two sons. Went backpacking for a weekend. It was
very
two
cool.
weekends ago. Yeah, it was great.
So you drove on the way up right past Whitney Portal.
Absolutely, yeah. We went through Lone Pine.
But why didn't you just go up Whitney Portal?
You need a permit for that. So we got permits for Hilton Lakes as well, but the permits for Whitney is actually pretty serious, and it's very far away from where we ended up backpacking.
Well, what I'm saying is you could have gone up to the top of Mount Whitney. Would have been just as fun.
I don't know that I would have dragged my kids up to the top of Mount Whitney, but yes, that was technically a possibility.
That's a tough hike. And you know why they do those permits? Not because they're collecting money or anything. It's just so they can keep
it's like $3. It's not even.
They need to keep a body count.
That's
for when
exactly
you don't
what it
come
is.
back. We got to go dig this body out.
We got to go find where this person fell.
Slid off the edge, right?
Yeah. My buddy just did it, actually. Just climbed Whitney.
All the way to the top?
This weekend. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, same weekend we were out there. Went all the way. He 3-dayed it, though, so he had like 3 stops. Because that is some serious elevation. You can get sick doing that. And so kind of slow rolling it is a good way to avoid getting sick.
Yeah. I've never done it. I've been up to Whitney Portal 1 or 2 times.
Okay.
But there's just no way to do that hike.
No,
I've done some walking and some hiking in my time, but mine was all at low elevation.
Yeah.
A couple hundred feet below sea level. And
this is very different. I mean, even where we were camping was like close to 10,000 feet, and that's not that. Even that, you know, you're breathing. Let me put it that way.
When we were in Big Bear yesterday, we were at about 8,000 feet, and just walking up the hill, because it's really steep hills where we're driving, and just walking up those, you feel it. Either that or I'm just getting old.
That too.
Speaking of my Jeep and my talking about manly vehicles in general.
Stuff.
How is that electric Ford working out for you?
It's been great.
Really?
I use it, I mean, as a truck. I probably use it every weekend, hauling something around. It is down here, right? Because we live in the same kind of state here. I get into the HOV lane, which is the primary reason I have it. If it wouldn't have been the truck, it would have been some other electric vehicle. It's primarily for commuting. But I got to say, the truck is very cush, very comfy. I got that Blue Cruise. I can hit the button, and it drives itself. It's great.
So do you still have Cybertruck envy?
No, I've never had Cybertruck envy. I never wanted a Cybertruck. The F-150 is a truck that they put an electric motor in. It just does truck things, right? It's got the same trim packages that you would get if it was a Eco Boost or regular gas engine. It just is electric, and I charge it at home. That's it. I got a 240 line, plug it in, very nice.
So yours doesn't have that self-driving stuff.
It does.
All that silliness. Self-driving.
Well,
take me from here to here while I take
No. So what it does is when I get onto the freeway, because I spend a lot of time in the 91, I park in whatever lane that I'm going to be on. I hit the Blue Cruise button, and it's like adaptive cruise control advanced. It's like better advanced, like adaptive cruise control is what it really
I
is.
had that in my Jaguar that I used to have, my XF, and
Yes.
I did not trust it. I sat there driving with my hand just right over the steering wheel and my foot on the brake the whole time. It gave me more anxiety to do it that way than just to drive normal. I didn't trust it. I don't think I could ever trust the self-driving from one
I
of
love
the,
it. I love it. And don't get me wrong. Maybe once a week or so, I've got to go in there and slightly correct it or whatever. But it has increased my happiness in driving in California traffic more than anything that I've ever experienced in driving my many, many years now. So it's very nice.
You know what increased my happiness in driving in Southern California more than anything else?
Not driving.
Not driving in Southern California.
Yeah, I respect.
There was a time for about a year that I had to go drive from the Inland Empire to Irvine.
The IE.
Was it Irvine? Red Hill Road.
Yeah.
And I'd have to come across the 91, and it was just
that is a bad
suicide-inducing.
That particular slot of the 91 through Corona sucks.
Yes,
sucks
yes.
bad, real bad, and people drive like maniacs.
Yeah. Well, 2 miles an hour is kind of hard, but
Fair point.
All right. So anyway, the reason that we're actually here.
Yes. What is the reason, Randy?
FCC. Well, we'll go through a list of things. FCC news. All the big excitement and happenings in the FCC. FCC sent a mean letter to a place in Florida called Asia Touch Spa.
Okay.
We won't even go there. They had a Bluetooth speaker bringing down the AT&T cell phone towers nearby.
What?
So apparently AT&T or whoever was managing their towers for them complained. The FCC investigated it. They went in, they turned the Bluetooth speaker off, and the problem went away.
What did we say, Randy? What did we tell the fine listeners here? That the FCC does indeed go to people's establishments, even if they don't have a license. They will show up and say, "You are interfering with so and so who has privilege."
If so-and-so has a privilege and pays for that privilege.
Sure, yeah. So pirate radio stations, we talked about that. Like they get a lot of FCC ire because they are impeding upon people who actually are paying money. But
but see, that's different. If you're interfering with a cell tower, right, you're disrupting communications. If you're doing a pirate radio, you're not interfering necessarily. You're not necessarily interfering with anybody, but now you're competing. So they're not stopping that other radio station. They're just doing it better sometimes than that other radio station.
I mean, I guess so. I guess that comes down to where your line is. Like if you think the frequency bands are free, then I can see the argument. But my personal thoughts are, we have to manage the frequency spaces because they're so finite, right? There's like it's a limited resource from my point of view. So if you have a pirate station that hasn't gone through the same level of requirements for safety and all the other stuff that the broadcast stations do, then it's like they're cutting in line, if you will, from my, the way I look at it. But yeah, I hear what you're saying otherwise.
The FCC also sent a letter on July 3rd. I was making my notes, waiting for you to join us again. It's been a while since you've been here.
Yes,
throughout the month, I was making notes. Sent a letter to a Hampton Inn in Renton, Washington, because they had a RF power booster for their internal radio, like an LMR service booster of some sort.
Oh, interesting. They threw an amp on it. Okay.
And that was interfering with the Puget Sound emergency radio system and service.
Puget Sound. That's where the subs are.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So they sent him a letter. I got a link to the letter, the PDF, and put it in my notes. Came back a couple of weeks later to read it so I could, send it to you to say, hey, here's what we're going to talk about. And it was saying, file not found, nothing there. And so I went searching for it. They pulled it. FCC pulled the letter and all.
You don't have a copy of it?
No, I didn't print it out. But so it's gone. They pulled it. I am pretty sure the deep state is covering the story. Maybe I didn't even know that's where the submarines were. I was going to kind of make a joke about it, but if that's where they're doing
Yeah.
secret stuff. It is obviously a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's secret, but there's a huge naval impact in that area. If you think about the area, right, it's kind of a really nice bay that you could put ships and whatnot, and it takes you into the Arctic Circle area.
They're obviously turning the frogs gay.
Turning the frogs gay. Alex
right.
Jones is here.
Right. Yeah. The big news, big FCC news.
Mm-hmm.
FCC affirms a $25,000 fine for a CB radio jammer. So the quick history is people started complaining about this guy in 2021.
Oh, wow.
FCC's a year later.
Got that COVID in the brain, turned him into a jammer.
Maybe. 2022, a year later, they started investigating it. That was in June of 2022.
Okay.
October 22, they sent him a mean letter,
As they do.
which he ignored.
Yeah.
Again, you always get the mean letter first.
That's
give
right.
You a fair chance to stop. And then a year after that, FCC issued an apparent notice of liability, which in non-lawyer terms means kind of like a fine.
Before it goes to the DOJ, that's right. Yeah.
If it ever goes. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
And so now the news in this last month was that they are now just affirming that fine. I don't know if that means he appealed or if that's part of the process.
A second notice has been sent.
Right. Yeah, basically
Right.
saying, yeah, you do owe us that $25,000.
Yeah.
So, but this guy, so a lot of people are saying, oh, there's the proof. The FCC will track you down and get you. Mm-hmm. This guy has a little bit of a history with the FCC. In 1999, he was fined $14,000, I think, for doing basically the same thing, which he still has never paid, according to the FCC's records. They reference this unpaid notice of liability, technically not a fine. They reference it in the updated documents.
At this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in 2011, he got another warning for the same thing. So he just doesn't care.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't care.
So this is not your typical CB radio jammer. But people are still, I've seen it online, so don't leave comments saying, well, who are all these people? Go online and you'll see it.
Yeah.
Referencing this to if you break the rules, the FCC is going to get you. And that's really not the case. And I got into an online argument. Again, every month I say this, and then I say, I try not to do it, and I get pulled in. Some guy was saying online, he made this type of a threat. Somebody, a beginner, was asking questions about using it was a GMRS online forum.
Right.
Asking about using the wrong radio or not having a license. And this guy said, they're going to come after you and they will get you. It's just not worth it. You'll get a fine. And I said, well, hold on here. And I said, you're full of shit. That doesn't happen. I see you gearing up.
I'm going to comment. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Well, so his retort to me was that being good stewards, if I was a good steward of the hobby, and he was referring to ham, but GMRS is kind of the same. They both have rules. Mm-hmm. A good steward of the hobby wouldn't be encouraging people to break the rules by stating these facts. And what I came back was, a good steward wouldn't be lying or intentionally inferencing things that will never happen and spreading misinformation. A good steward tells the truth. Yes, there are rules.
Can they both be true?
I don't know, Josh.
I agree with you mostly on the latter point. Truth is the highest thing we can aim for, right? Being accurate in our words, I think, is one of the most fundamental, important things of whatever you do, whether you're off-roading, like you were doing, Randy, backpacking, or radio. We should try to be as honest as we can.
Okay. So who is the better steward of his hobby? The guy that's the guy that's going around spreading lies, intentionally misleading people into thinking that something will happen that just statistically will never happen.
Yeah.
It could change tomorrow. The FCC could come with the law and order again rule down from the big guy.
Right.
And it could change. But as of today and for the last 20 years, statistically, ain't nothing gonna happen.
Yeah, I think that one, you should never get somebody to believe something through fear, and that fear from a lie. Like, that's just crazy. First of all, that's just patently crazy.
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
FUD, yeah, big time FUD fighter here. Now, with that said, yes, I think that stewardship of the resources is encouraging people to get licensed. I mean, GMRS is so cheap, and it covers your family. It does all those things. There's just no reason not to do it, particularly at the price of $35 for 10 years.
Well, there are a lot of reasons to not do it.
Why?
There are arguments.
Why?
Well, the argument is, I don't need no permission slip from no government to talk on my free airwaves.
That's okay. But so that's a First Amendment argument. Your means of communication is not guaranteed by the First Amendment. Your ability to have a thought and speak it is protected by the First Amendment, not the means of communication.
No, you're missing the point. A free man does not ask for permission. This is the argument. I don't necessarily.
Do you have a driver's license? Are you a boat? You're a land boat commander. I'm traveling on the open road.
We gotta pick our battles, Josh. And not getting a GMRS license is a lot easier than driving without a license because there's less consequences.
No, come on. I can't encourage. Well, so get your license. It's cheap. It covers your family. There's no reason not to get it. If you are a sovereign citizen, I will hear your arguments. Otherwise, no.
And what it does do so I'm not against getting a license, but I just a good reason for getting your license, and I never realized this until I was educated, probably during an online argument that I lost, is that getting an FCC license lets the FCC know for GMRS how many people are out there using it.
Did I make that argument to you? Because I've definitely said that before to people.
Okay, you might have. I know. You guys all look the same to me.
How dare you?
You ham radio.
How dare you?
Bearded ham radio guys.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So that is a good argument, because if you don't use it, you lose it. Not that would ever happen, right? The FCC would never give away any of bandwidth or anything, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay, so there is a reason to get your license, but
there is. There's a couple of reasons. Yeah.
So, okay. So speaking of FUD and licenses,
yes.
I in the online forums, there's a lot of discussion about using radios for emergency use, prepping for emergencies, getting your emergency communications in order before the emergency instead of in the heat of the moment when it's too late.
Please.
And the same guys, some people that spread all that FUD, often they say, and I just saw this, and this is why I put it in my notes, the best way to prepare for an emergency, let me check my notes, quote, the best way to prepare for an emergency with regard to comms is to get a ham radio license.
I guess it depends
which to me is just, I don't want to say the R word, but that's just stupid. Because I do not need, again, going back to the asking permission, I don't need a license to learn anything, right? I don't need a license to do any of the related training and learning and any of that. Now, maybe I'll need a license to talk on the ham radio without getting into trouble. But to say, as some people do, that that's the best way, getting your ham radio license has absolutely nothing to do with learning and getting prepared for communications. It just. Why do these people say these dumb things?
I don't know the person that learns everything about radio and becomes proficient at radio without getting a license and practicing use of that radio.
I
don't think they exist.
My radio without a license all the time. Maybe because part of the fun of all that for some of the guys is to get the license and say I pass. I get that, but you don't.
Not even that. That on the side. Like if you're just talking about skill in use and applicable, effective communication, you have to transmit, right?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So if you don't if you don't have a license while you're transmitting, then you are effectively breaking the rules. It really just comes down to personal integrity, I think.
Oh, integrity. Okay. All right. You ever roll through a stop sign, Josh?
Almost no. Never. No, because
okay.
You know why? Because I've been in an accident before where someone blows through the stop sign, and so I wait, I look
through a stop sign,
both ways.
Blowing through. All right, you can do that without actually stopping. I think you get my point.
No, just so the stop sign example is good, but I think you can't be proficient as any form of GMRS, whatever, CB without transmitting. And if one has to have a license to be able to transmit, my opinion, then yeah, like that's the way to do it. You got to get licensed, right? Or are we at the part of the talking about the emergency yet? Can I
Well, I don't know. Well, in a real emergency, it's not going to matter. I think we've talked about emergencies before, the different levels of emergencies.
Sure.
You know, after an earthquake or after a big storm, if you're out there, you're calling for help, real serious emergency help. Doesn't matter if you have a license, right? You're not. It is within the rules during the defined. We won't go down that road, but there is a defined emergency use that within the rules you can transmit without it.
But that's a wiggle. That's a wiggle room thing. I think people say that to try and find a gap they can fall into. Right. Like, yes, I can transmit now. That's not what that's for. But there is a
legitimate use. Again, if after the big storm and you're sitting on your roof with the floodwaters rising and all you have is the radio that you carried up with you or whatever. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Again, statistical likelihood is nil almost for that individual. That's the only form of communication. They had a cell phone.
Cell phone towers are down.
They have to do all that first before any mode of communication outside of privileges.
Well, if you're on your roof, on your roof and the flood is rising and it's past the second story windows, cell towers are down. That is going to be your only means of communication at that point.
Sure. But I think statistically that is such a small sample size of people that actually fall into that.
Okay.
Using your argument is just such a small, it's a narrow sample size, I think.
Fair enough. But then the next level emergency that a lot of these guys are specifically training for, that real shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
The trash service has stopped. The police have all gone home.
That's
Cats and dogs. Living
with each other,
living with each other, and then, of course, sleeping with each other. Yes. Then it doesn't matter, right? Then it really doesn't matter. When the zombies are walking the streets, at that point, it doesn't matter because it's all collapsed, and now you're on your own.
So when it comes to emergencies, you always should have a layered approach. Everything should be layered. So like when I went backpacking, we had a Garmin inReach. The phones now do satellites, although we had no signal where we went. We even hiked out a Starlink. Right, we had that much level of redundancy as well as amateur radio. So I always go back to, I love these conversations, but I always go back to the point of, if you put all eggs in one basket, you're already failing. It doesn't matter if it's whatever, insert your favorite radio service, whether it's paid for or accessible via license, you've already failed. You have to have layered communication. Always, always.
Well, speaking of, it's a good segue there. Starlink. I got a Starlink, my Starlink Mini a few months ago. I think every time we talk, I bring it up because it is the single best purchase, I think, that has changed my life more than anything ever.
Wow.
Okay. At a minimum when we go off-roading.
Oh, sure, sure.
Because it lets us make phone calls, video calls from middle of nowhere, anywhere, where there's no repeaters, sometimes, actually often when there's no Garmin, because I used to use the Garmin as our emergency backup. And because the Starlink coverage is so much better than the Garmin coverage, which really you got to be able to see the south view of the sky perfectly to get a signal on the Garmin. And it's very slow compared to the Starlink.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then it works as a backup to my home internet if it ever goes down. It's wonderful. And I have often said that it makes ham radio obsolete because...
No, because that's somebody else's. You're paying somebody else. You're subsidizing your communication through someone else.
Brings me to my point. On Thursday, Starlink went down.
Hey, kids.
Around the globe.
Hey,
not just like
kids.
in Missouri. It went down.
Yes.
So now I see how vulnerable it can be.
Yeah.
And that was because of a software glitch, a network issue that, that's just kind of bizarre to think about that it took it all down. But one little software glitch could take it down, unintentional. So if somebody intentionally went after the software or intentionally blasted off a little EMP up in space, it really is vulnerable. So should I throw it in the trash and get ham radios and get my license instead?
You should layer your communications, right? We had the same problem with AT&T. Was it this year, beginning of this year, or last year?
Yeah.
AT&T and a bunch of other carriers went down. You can assume the more people, human beings, you put in between you and the communication that you want to do to whomever it is, eventually, Murphy's Law, we will have an outage, right? And that's just an example. The thing we're trying to avoid is the statistical likelihood that when that outage occurs, it's at a very important point or a very important time that your communication is vital. So if you can't depend on anything, which I try not to depend on anything, I layer my communication. So get yourself a Garmin, get yourself a Starlink, have a GMRS license, have an amateur radio license, have all the layers covered. It's the PACE plan, right? We've talked about the PACE plan.
Yeah, we have. I do still. So I had a Garmin. That was our emergency communication when we go off-roading for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I got the Starlink, and I was ready to throw the Garmin in the trash. Good thing I didn't. But I did bump down the service level. After Starlink came out, and they probably started losing customers en masse, they made a new low-cost tier with just a few messages per month. So we bumped down to that cheapo level of
That's where I'm at.
Garmin service.
Yes.
So that is still in the Jeep as a backup. So I guess Josh, has been proven right. Layer your communications.
Layer them.
And you did
layering.
So you Garmin, Starlink, GMRS, ham radio. You did not mention CB radio.
Well, so I'm a backpacking guy. In your Jeep, you can absolutely run a CB. Love that, if or wherever if you're off-roading. But since I'm usually traveling with my house on my back, that kind of thing, I travel
You got to
generally
be as light as you can.
Yeah. And I mean, literally, this. Where's my? So, and of course, it's not working. Gotta love that about my setup here. But no, I have a small little backpack portable radio that I take everywhere, and there we go. Yeah, this little guy right here. Literally, here's my little backpack radio. One of them.
One of the layers.
Yeah, one of the layers. Not to mention VHF, UHF, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, radio dorks. I made a video the other day that I may have alluded or mentioned something to the effect of CB radio is dead, and
I think you can make an argument for that.
Well,
but that pissed off a lot of people, I bet.
Oh man, the outrage was palpable. And so then they went off telling in the comments all the reasons why CB radio isn't dead. But one of the things that many people brought up is that CB is not dead. Let me check my notes here because 11-meter ham is as active as ever. So what the heck does that have to do with CB radio? I mean, I kind of get it, but what's the difference?
Slight correction. 11 meters is CB. Ham radio has 10 meters and 12 meters.
Okay, so why would a ham radio guy? I assume he was a ham radio guy because he said maybe he said 10 meter and I wrote down 11 or because I was.
Right.
What you guys
so
are saying.
Okay, this is such a fun topic. First of all, the people that are so diehard about CB. Are they doing that with an FCC limited 4-watt transmitter? Probably not. They have an amped up, big slamming station, and they're like, "Oh, this is great! I get all over the world." It's like, yeah, you're violating FCC rules.
And when the other guys that don't know any better turn on their CBs, and that's what they hear, I hear all this stuff.
That's all they hear.
They're all
That's all they hear.
Some guy in Georgia, transmitting 10,000 watts.
Right.
So are you so back to your ham radio, a 10 meter, 11 meter, whatever, 10 meter.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to use one of those ham radios to transmit on the CB radio bands?
Yes, yeah. Well, no. So no, you cannot. So very, very important distinction. Band privileges for amateur radio include 10 and 12 meters. Those are different frequencies from CB. CB is quote unquote 11 meters. But they're very good right now because we're in the solar maximum. The sun is, we've also talked about this. The sun is at its highest intensity in its 11-year cycle. It goes through minimums and maximums, and we're in a maximum where lower frequency transmissions are very effective. That's why CB is so good right now. That's why 10 meters is so good, 12 meters,
But is it good,
15s.
or does it just make it such...
Oh, no.
Don't I hear more noise now, or I hear less noise now?
Well,
am I hearing stuff from further away?
Oh, yes. So all of the above.
So it's a mess.
Right?
It's a mess.
No.
It's worse now than it's been because of the solar maximum.
No.
CBs, everybody. You heard Josh say it.
No, not at all. So yes, you get some more atmospheric noise. That is true. It's a little bit noisier, a little bit. But your ranges of communication are astronomically longer than they were during the minimum, for instance. During the minimum, you cannot get quote-unquote skip, right? So if we're on if 5 years from now, when Randy and I are talking in the next show, the skip range will be much shorter. 10 meters effectively, hams migrate away from 10 meters because they can't use it effectively. That's why we migrate down to like 20 meters and 17 meters, 30 meters, 40 meters.
When you say use it effectively, you're talking about so that you can find anonymous men to chat with?
Right. Yeah. Long distance communication to anonymous men. Yeah. Right. I will tell you, last night on the Ham Radio Crash Course live stream, we had a number of women come in and ask questions, all getting their licenses, setting up their home station, wondering about going outdoors and off-road, how they set up amateur radio. So it was a very good show we did last night.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned the statistical whatever the amounts. Yeah.
1%.
You can't. You can't get your fingers close enough. So, all right, before I move on, so is CB radio dead or not?
No, it's not dead, of course. I think you can make an argument, going back to what I was saying about amplifiers and whatnot, because very few people are following FCC rules regarding, like you said, regarding the people that you hear on CB. Like, I run a 100-watt amateur radio station on 10 meters, which is pretty much the closest frequency space to CB, and absolutely kill it. Absolutely fast, good, strong communication. But CB, no, 4 watts. 4 watts.
Josh, you're a YouTuber. Do you do the sponsored videos? You know, the ones where you're in the middle of your talking about your ham radio dork stuff, and then you say...
I've tried it.
And that's why I like...
NordVPN! Link in the video description to NordVPN.
Right.
Check out my Raid Shadow Legends crew or something. Play the game on your mobile phone. Yeah. I've done it. I've tried. I had a sponsor for it was like an online learning tool. And specifically, it was like I found the classes on like how to use an oscilloscope and some of the test tools that we use in radio. So that was fine. But to be honest with you, the way I create videos, it just became too much work to even have the sponsor. So I was like, we're done with that. I gave that up over a year ago.
I hate those. As a YouTube consumer, the guy sitting on the shitter while he's watching videos, I hate those. It's just, I cannot stand those. And because of that, because I value my viewers, I have vowed more than once on camera to I will never, I don't care how much, I don't care how much they offer me.
Yeah.
If you ever see me doing one of those videos, they offered me
you got that bag.
A lot.
You got that bag. Now, I do have a lot of respect for the channels that put the ad in the little thumb or the chapters. They put like a chapter marker, so you can just like click, and then you could bypass. I love that. Thank you.
Okay, YouTube's got a great new thing. They just started doing this. If you're watching that and you hit because on iOS, if you tap and hold it, it goes at double speed. Mm-hmm. A little thing will pop up at the bottom that says jump ahead.
Yes.
And you tap that, it takes you right past that freaking annoying little money-making ad.
Now, I realized while I was explaining that whole thing, I have a very good example. Yes, I am sponsored by ICOM America, makers of amateur radios, for Ham Nation. I took over the show Ham Nation some time ago during COVID.
But
and
do you have to interrupt the show every
yes,
time? And,
yeah,
and
we
say,
run an
"This is-"
ICOM ad. Yeah, we run an ICOM ad. That's true. Here's now a word from ICOM, and it's talking about their new radios or whatever they're doing. But that legacy, that show that I inherited, was already like close to 10 years old when
Leo
I
Laporte.
inherited it.
You got it from Leo Laporte.
I
Right?
got it from Leo Laporte. That's right. So
that
yeah,
is
I mean,
very cool.
and you think that is traditional media, basically, from my point of view. I inherited that, and so yes, I have an ICOM ad, and yes, it is sponsored. Yes, I get money in my pocket from that. So.
Well, now I'm never going to watch Ham Nation that I never would have watched anyway.
Yeah, right. It's not really your back.
Yeah. Hey, check this out.
I'm checking.
You see? Can you see that?
Yes, Spec 5.
I got it like a few weeks ago. It took me a while to figure out how to turn it on. Is it any good?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's Spec 5. I got to talk to them at Hamvention in May.
Spec 5, only $129.
That's the thing. Okay, so you can go buy a Heltec board off of Amazon for like $26.
No. Okay, so when I make my video about this, because I paid for this myself, by the way. I bought this.
Oh, good for you. Okay.
The reason I bought this is because I didn't have to pay, or I didn't have to get some Heltec board and just with a few little pieces of soldering, and then you 3D print your own case. No, I don't want any of that BS. I want to take it out of the box and turn it on, and maybe I have to configure it and learn to. I don't want to. There is a whole segment of human beings that just want the shit to work. All right, they don't want to have to, be radio dorking it around to put it together.
You and I are on the same page. We're on the same page, and in fact, I discussed that with the Spec 5 people. I actually have an interview with them. I may drop it tomorrow. I haven't dropped it yet. So. Yes, they agree. They create turnkey options that are very nicely done, yet turnkey. Yeah, basically, very easy.
Take it out of the box and turn it on.
That's right. They have high quality materials. They do good stuff. And they're also innovating the space. They have like a drone. They have that'll mount on a drone that you can fly up and get a really super high vantage point, right? What we talked about with those frequencies, higher vantage point is better. They have a solar node that would go on the top of the roof of your car. They're doing all kinds of good things. Good company, but yes, you are exchanging money for time, right?
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
Which many people are more than happy to do.
Absolutely.
All those guys that make fun of me and all of us normal people because we don't want to do the soldering ourselves and all that, most of them, if you say, who fixes your car? They say, I take it down to the garage and he changes the oil for me.
I will try to fix my own car, break it sufficiently, and then I will take it to the professionals. But, I mean, the same goes for tools, right? How many things have you worked on in your house? I do a ton of stuff around my house.
Well, I think it goes for everything, right? It's a money for time exchange.
Absolutely.
But some people, when it comes to talking about things like this, they tend to demean us people that actually value our time because we're not smart enough to do what they do.
Yeah. That bothers me. There's nothing wrong with fixing your house, your car, your radios, whatever. Like, go nuts. But to then look down on others because they don't, I think they're just poor characters, right, at the end of the day.
Yes. Yeah. Well, my goal with this, the reason I got this, my goal is to be able to send you a message at your house.
Oh, okay.
Because we're like 30 miles away from each other.
You want to test it right now?
No, I don't know how to turn it on. I haven't got that far.
I got a solar node on the roof. I get out.
Well, in an emergency, I need to be able to check in on you and
please
and make sure that you're okay. And we don't. And everybody said just use a repeater. I don't think there's a repeater between us that works because we've tried Santiago before and. For some reason, can you hit Santiago?
Oh, absolutely. I got a open line of sight to Santiago.
All right, well, so do I. Because I thought we had tried maybe it was Simplex that we tried.
We tried
years
Simplex,
ago.
It didn't work, yeah.
Can't Simplex. Okay, and in a real emergency, Santiago's only got about a half a day of, the GMRS has only got about a half a day of solar power.
And then it goes those numbers down. They got to up those numbers.
So in a real emergency, I need to check to make sure you're okay. So that is going to be my goal. That I'll probably start here.
We could. The mesh in Southern California is one of the best that I've ever experienced. Only rivaled by Hawaii, believe it or not. The Mesh-tastic network in Hawaii, the entire island chain is meshed. You can talk from one island to the other over Mesh-tastic.
I was talking to the Ringway Manchester radio guy. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with his YouTube.
I am.
He was on a few weeks ago because you were too busy to come on. When anyway,
sorry.
so he was
I was on a mountain.
he was my B team, and he was saying that in his area, he said that it was after his video that Meshtastic started getting really popular in his area a few years ago.
He and Andy.
But he said
Andy Kirby.
I think so. Yeah,
It's a buddy.
He said
Andy
it got
Kirby's
so
a buddy of
popular.
his.
He said it got so popular that it became unusable. Does that happen? That if you get too much traffic, it all just kind of bogs down and.
Yeah. So what happens with Meshtastic and APRS, which is a amateur radio mode, is that you'll have collisions. If you have a lot of stations that are communicating at the same time, they will effectively block each other out. Now, UK, if I understand correctly, and Andy and Ringway, they can correct me. They actually have different rules than we have in the United States regarding the 915 megahertz band space. I think they have less power output they can actually use. So their communication is also they're on an island. They're literally on top of each other, whereas we're a little bit more spread out, right? So I don't know. We also have really tall mountains, which I think help because everybody can hear the mountains, and the mountains kind of act like repeaters for Meshtastic. So I would have to do a deeper dive into understanding what's going on there, but ours is very usable here in Southern California. It's fantastic. We have hundreds of nodes, hundreds.
All right. Well, if I figure out how to make this work, I guess I'll find out.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Meshtastic, a self-proclaimed cryptographic protocol engineer declared and decreed on another video of mine in the comments that Meshtastic encryption is complete garbage.
No.
So is that true? Do I need to throw this away now because
No.
Meshtastic encryption is complete garbage? I think me and Ringway Manchester talked about this, but I need to hear it from you, Josh. Do it because I got the trash can right here. I'm ready to go.
No. So the answer is
away?
no. So Meshtastic uses AES 256-bit encryption. It does it in a way that's kind of funky. So that is true. You can throw some stones at it for that, but no, it's still an effective form of encryption. It's not as effective as some other things, but that's again, it's your risk posture. It's just not that big a deal, I guess. Everybody I know that's on Meshtastic not really doing encryption, other than like some kind of private network they have to their wife or something like that. Which that's where we do our off-grid naughty time messages, but
right. Well, I think this guy actually I don't know what he was thinking. He was just wanted to show us how smart he thought he was.
You nailed it. Yeah.
All right, Josh, we're running out of time, but you
Yes,
had
sir.
something that you wanted to talk about of
I did,
extreme
yeah.
importance. Is that right?
I think so, and somewhat important to our friends in GMRS as well. So the FCC has granted use of the 430 through the 440 megahertz space to AST Space Mobile Constellation. Specifically, they have a set of 5 frequencies that they use for telemetry of satellites and launch vehicles for putting stuff into space. Now, there's a really fun thing. Okay. Fun is different between all kinds of different people. Are you familiar with the ITU? Do you know what the ITU is?
Yes.
Of course you do.
That's the European Radio
International
Club or something, right?
Telecommunications Union. It's not just European, it's the entire world, because a lot of our radio communications can go transcontinental, right? So the ITU says, hey, we got this finite amount of electromagnetic spectrum. Let's utilize it as efficiently as we can. So this particular area, this space of frequencies, is not part of the ITU region. So it's an FCC only thing.
Go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah. So the ITU frequency spectrum space for 70 centimeters in that whole area is a certain width. But in the United States, the FCC says, we got a little bit more, actually, that we're going to let you play around with. And it turns out that space is more of a opener area for use by not just amateur radio operators, but other entities. And so amateur radio is actually a secondary user, which implies that we Do not create interference to who might be the primary user. Primary users are sometimes like the military. You don't step on the military if they're transmitting and all that stuff. But it goes to show you, right, that we just talked about Starlink and we just talked about all this other stuff. That's kind of what this company's doing, is they're putting up low Earth orbit satellites, and they need the ability to get telemetry off of them. And they thought, at least in the form of this study, that they would like to experiment using the 70-centimeter space, which is amateur radio, GMRS, the whole 9 yards there. So kind of an interesting thing to keep an eye on. We're worried in the sense that amateur radio operators don't like losing frequencies, our privileges, but at the same time, we also don't want to be interfered with on our adjacent frequencies that we might be sharing with other users. And interference is like one of our biggest concerns more than anything.
So that could actually be a slippery slope. They give away a little bit at a time. They slowly boil that frog, the frog doesn't notice or complain very much.
Yeah.
And so another reason, like you said earlier, another reason why getting your GMRS license could be important. So if the FCC says, we got however many, 1 million GMRS registered GMRS users, we can't go giving that away. But if there's only a few thousand users, they'll never know or never care. So
that's right.
Get your GMRS license, boys and girls.
See, we made a good argument for the license in the end.
Yeah. I'm a official steward of the hobby now, I guess.
You are. Yeah, I think so.
All right, Josh, we're running out of time. We're out of time. I'm losing my internet connection, so I'm.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm losing you, buddy. I'm losing you. You're not 5'9" into the shack here. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching.